All right. So this is Breaking Bad season 2, episode 9, 4 days out, and we're back after Christmas. How was your Christmas?
Mellow, how was yours?
Same old, same old.
I'm backing out of it every year a little bit more.
Hmm.
So I take care of my parents and my kids, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's all gift cards. Anyway,
Well, gift cards is the cheapest, really.
yeah, it's the easiest.
Hmm.
No wrapping, no more staying up all night and wrapping.
Yeah. And plus, they can buy the gifts that they want themselves
Oh
instead of
yeah,
you buying it, and they have to take it back because it's not what they wanted.
that's right. Excuse me, my ears don't take this well. Okay.
All right, so this is 4 days out, and this episode is really good. I really like this one. It reminds me of a future episode, which we'll get into, which is Fly in season 3. It kind of reminds me of it because you only see Walt and Jesse in this episode.
Okay. No, you see Skylar. You
Yeah, in the
see
beginning and in the end, but
you
mainly,
see Marie and Hank. Marie actually has a big role in the beginning of it,
hmm
and Junior,
yeah,
and yeah, but it's mostly Walt and Jesse.
hmm
I watched it again today, and I thought, if Walter the Liar weren't such a lame title, it would fit. Because yeah, I just started noticing these things, but I guess when we get to that part,
yeah. I noticed on Facebook you posted this is a good Skylar episode as well,
well, yeah, because
representing Skylar really.
he's he's lying. He's lying
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
everybody, left and right. He's lying to his own doctor by omission. Um, he tells Skylar he's going to see his mother when
hmm
really he's going to cook meth for 4 days, and he lies to Jesse
yeah,
to get him to cook. So, and then he actually says something about all of that lying when they're stuck out in the desert,
hmm
and it stands out as one of those defining moments of what's happening with Walt throughout this series.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an epic Walt versus Skylar episodes. They're better, but
hmm
you know, I mean, it's clear she's the victim of his lies,
hmm
and he's the victim of his own lies too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he
anyway,
said so in the episode that he can't keep up with them.
I typed the exact quote when he's saying that he deserves this, he had this coming,
Hmm
and and Jesse says, "Well, you're doing it for the family, right?" And he says, "All I've managed to do is disappoint them and lie to them," and I can't find the exact quote here. And then he says, like, "Oh my God, the lies! I can't even keep them straight in my head anymore."
hmm
And it's almost it's a wake up call that he. I'm not sure if well. He's still cooking. He's still going to sell this. I forget. Going forth, is he going to cook, or is this one of when he jumps out again?
Well, I noticed something interesting in this episode at the end where Hank says they keep pulling you back in. You're trying to get out, but they keep pulling you back in.
What was that about?
It was on the end of the episode where Walt finds out that his cancer has been reduced by 80%.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, the big family.
Hmm
Okay, we see. That's right. It's bookended by the family.
Yeah.
Wait in the waiting room for him to get the scan, and then all together in the office waiting to get the results.
hmm
But I didn't realize Hank said that. I just remember you kicked its ass or something.
Yeah. But he said it. He said that you kicked its ass. They keep pulling you out, but you can't. You keep coming back in. You try to keep pulling out, but you keep coming back in. It was somewhere along the lines like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, first thing I noticed that in the waiting room, Skylar is in her blue. She's still Skylar.
Mhm.
And Walt's got a dark shirt. I was looking at something, I forgot where I saw it. It's a spectrum of colors for Walt as he goes through,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I know
how,
what you're talking about. I saw that.
you know, at certain points the shirts get darker.
Mhm.
He was wearing some darker shirts in this one at some points. But the greatest thing here is that Marie imparts her wisdom while they're waiting for the scan, and she's like,
Mhm.
doctors like you to think they're so smart, but I could tell you in 1 minute how Walt's doing if I looked at the scan.
Mhm.
And Walt's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Nobody pays attention to anything Marie has to say ever. You just disregard, disregard, disregard. But he sees his own scan. Of course, he's trying to ask the technician,
Mhm.
and the technician A can't diagnose, and B not allowed to. And but he sees the scan himself, and he sees that mass, and he's decided right then and there that he's only got
Mhm.
weeks.
Yeah.
He's come to that conclusion all by himself. And that's because he listened to Marie.
Mhm.
He took one look and said, oh, yeah, she's right. Excuse me. Out of butt, out of face. That'd be great. Thanks. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And when he's getting scanned, he looks, it's interesting. I think he's going through a whole bunch of different feelings here. I think when he is getting scanned, I think he's hoping it's good news. He
Mhm.
looks nervous, like, he wants us to be good. And then he sees it, and then, he thinks he's going to die.
Mhm.
And then when he finds out later on it's actually all good news, he's pissed
Mhm.
because he got used to the idea of dying.
Yeah.
And now he's got to live. It's like a punishment. And he takes it all out on that poor, innocent paper towel dispenser.
Mhm. Yeah, he was really upset about this.
He wants to be done.
Mhm.
And I think this is a guy who maybe he knows that as long as he's alive, he's still going to do things he's not supposed to do.
Yeah. So
And
you said this. All right. So going into this episode, it's mainly Walt and the family at the beginning and in the end, but in the middle it's Walt and Jesse cooking meth for 2 days. But basically they have to cook for 4 days so they can meet the quota before Walt thinks he's dying.
mm-hmm.
And Jesse, being Jesse, leaves the keys in the ignition and they're stuck there.
Oh yeah, and a fight about that is great. But when they take off for that little trip, um, I was paying attention to the music, and it's a really happy, upbeat song.
Hmm.
"Good Morning Freedom." That's a song from like around 1970-ish, and it doesn't seem out of time, out of place. And there goes the. And I also got some I don't know, Thelma and Louise vibes as you're watching the RV go through the desert. And it was like these two guys on an adventure, but they're at each other's throats for a while.
Hmm.
And Walt is just a jerk to him, and he's condescending, and no, you can't use my phone, what if my wife checks and some stripper answers? And
You think that was a lie? You think he lied to Jesse so that Jesse wouldn't be able to use his phone?
the phone thing, I think he really does want to be careful because the
Hmm.
two cell phone thing had already come up once. Hey, we got people. It's Tammy.
I made
Hello,
it.
Tammy.
Hi
Hi.
there.
Was you able to
Everything.
watch the episode?
Yeah, I just finished.
That is perfect timing.
How's
You
it
guys
going?
just got. Am I late?
Yeah, but that's okay. We haven't
That's okay.
gotten deep into it yet.
Oh, okay. Where are you at?
Well, kind of all over the place, but we were. Shane just brought up, that fateful moment when Jesse puts the keys in the ignition because they're not supposed to be on the workstation,
Right.
and it all goes downhill from there. And Jesse he's like epically screwing up one stupid thing after another.
Yeah. Do you feel sorry for him though?
Yes.
Yep.
Walt sure doesn't, does he?
No.
No. No.
No, not at all. And I can't say I wouldn't have screwed. I mean, you can't drink a freaking fire extinguisher, dude. The water would have been good, though. I probably would have flipped out a little bit. But they go back and forth from like being buddies and working together to being at each other's throats to being buddies, back and forth throughout this whole ordeal. And no matter what Walt says to Jesse, Jesse has some real concern for Walt's health during this.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship all the way to from front to end. I mean, they're antagonistic to each other, and I love it whenever Jesse says bitch.
Well, then you must love the show a lot because he does it constantly.
Yes. Yeah, I really like that. That's one of the high points of every episode that he does that.
And it will live on forever as one of the most used words in Breaking Bad. I don't know if they say that more than meth.
I've seen a reel on YouTube or something with all the times that Jesse says bitch. And that's great. That's some classic YouTube viewing there.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I think I saw that one too. Yeah, it's like over like 300 times.
But, yeah, I mean, he just screws up over and over and over again. So now they have to try to use the generator to start the RV. And Jesse goes to pour the gas that poor Walt has siphoned in, using his own mouth. And Jesse's pouring it into the generator, but it's all over the place. It's splashing everywhere.
Yeah, he's a total screw-up in this episode, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't understand why Walt didn't say anything. All he's doing is pull, not like a girl, really pull.
Mm-hmm.
To which Jesse had a great response.
Sorry, I'm on my phone. I can't.
Oh, that's.
Oh, you're using a phone?
I can't get a good picture. Yeah, I'm using my cell phone. Is it doing all right?
Yeah, it's doing
we
fine.
can see you.
Great.
I was thinking of trying that.
It's my laptop.
Yeah, I can see my stolen street sign. But yeah, why didn't Jesse siphon the gas? That didn't seem right to me.
Yeah, and why didn't Walt have a prepaid cell phone?
Did he have one at this time already? Did he have the multiple cell phones?
Oh yeah, he'd been having problems with multiple cell phones for a while.
Okay, so where was his second cell phone?
Right.
Yeah.
Jesse's was explained. Well, Jesse had a phone, but he couldn't get a signal.
And
Walt had apparently his actual phone, his main phone that Skylar would call and possibly check. Considering, weird phone calls come to the house. She gets the number. She finds his name. She looks him up on My Shout pages or something. Yo, 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 and and MILFs, and she's like, "What's a MILF?" And this guy's a loser. And then she's already by this point confronted him, gone to the house while he's moving Emilio's body.
Yeah.
And said, "Don't ever sell marijuana to my husband again." So yeah. And the second cell phone, because he had to do his fugue state. This is already way past Tuco days.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they get away from Tuco, he has to pretend that he doesn't remember anything, and he has to stand in a like a high-low grocery store buck naked. So
At least it wasn't Whole Foods.
the second cell phones have been a problem. But he really should have had one for this trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that makes it a little more evident of the stress that they're under, because Walt is pretty sharp, as we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks things through. He's a planner. He's very organized in the way he thinks. But the stress and the illness and everything has taken its toll. So, I mean, Jesse already doesn't make good choices in a lot of ways, the way he's living his life and everything. So, you know, we kind of expect it out of him. And plus, neither one of them are survivalists at all, as far as going off and, you know, doing things out in the wild, like where they were in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just, I mean, who takes Funyuns for 4 days
How were
worth
you
of
even
food?
alive? Walt says to him.
And then the funny part about it is that in the montage, you see Walt.
But he ate
Funyun.
them, and there's this great montage when they're cooking, and everything's great, and they have this really upbeat song. I forget what it's called. I wrote it down somewhere, but it's got a little bit of like a Caribbean or reggae sound to it.
Yeah, because a while ago, while I was watching, I was kind of humming along with it. I liked that.
Yeah, and it's just laid back, and they're showing this montage, and they're getting along, and it's like the more productive they are, the happier they are together.
Yep.
Clinking glasses, you know, they even pee together. You know,
yeah, that's male bonding.
take turns sleeping, and cooking, and they're doing great right up until the moment the fan cuts out because the generator's done, and even a little after that, when they realized that the RV was dead.
Yeah.
So all the way up to that point.
Yeah, things started dying and unraveling at the same time. The relationship, or as a whole, but all of the things that they had done to get to that point, and while they were making this batch of meth, it seemed like as they proceed through the batch, the closer they get to completion of the batch, the more they got along. It was like that act of doing that together fed over to the other things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, it was kind of symbolic, the completion of the batch. At the same time, their relationship was getting better. And then the first sign that something died, the fan, it started to unravel, and then it was just boom, 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 all of these things going bad, and at the same time, all of the work that they had done, the ground that they had made on their relationship just fell apart.
Yeah, it fell apart, and they were at each other's throats. But you notice when Jesse brings Walt back to the airport, because of course he's on a trip to see his mom, so he told Skylar. You know, Walt asks him to make sure that the family gets the money, you know, no matter what happens. And Jesse's like, you know, of course they will. And there is no doubt that Jesse's sincere and Walt trusts him.
Yeah, that was the other. They brought it back together by building the battery together. When they work together, their relationship flows with it. It's really shows how well this show is written because of the rhythm of that. The roller coaster ride of their relationship is a really detailed, intense thing, and the rhythm, it's so up and down and everything. But the way they pull it all together, it's really amazing at how well written this show is. It was like a classical masterpiece, the way it was written, that the rhythm of that, the way that all came together in their relationship and their emotions at each other. not they weren't. They were like their emotions are thrown at each other. You know what I mean? Jesse's such a passionate individual in everything. I mean, even about the way he greets his friends as yo-yo, bitch, all of that stuff. He's an extremely passionate individual. And the way these two guys mesh, it's really put together. That's why the fan base is so solid with this show.
And when he gets psyched, I have to be careful. I almost said something that's a spoiler. Have you caught up yet?
I'm getting there. I finished. I'm into season 4 now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished season 3, and wow, that last episode of season 3, man.
Now imagine having to wait like almost a year to see that. The rest of that.
No way. I'm not survived. I'm barely surviving The Walking Dead.
Oh, well, that's getting closer.
The mid-season finale thing. So.
I'm looking forward to. But yeah, they're. I mean, no matter how many awful things Walt said to Jesse, and no matter how many stupid things Jesse did, by the end of it, they're friends, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
And Jesse's really sincere in the way he looks at Walt and says goodbye to him and, see you later.
Yeah, it's so hard for them to have a feeling of respect for the other, each one, because they come from such different environments that Walt doesn't really consider Jesse a person a lot of times. He considers him a pot smoking, just like when he called him to gather up the supplies. The way he treated him whenever Jesse said, "I got plans, yo."
Smoking pot, eating Cheetos, and masturbating do not constitute plans in my book.
Yeah, and
screw you and your book.
Yeah, and from Jesse's point of view, Walt's life is insignificant, compared to his, because he likes to party and have fun and do all the things that he likes to do.
Snap, snap, snap.
Yeah.
And, oh God! And then Jesse's like, well, we're going to a museum in Santa Fe. If not that it's any of your business. We're gonna go see Georgia O'Keeffe. And Walt's like, what? And he's like, she does these vagina paintings or pictures or just painted. And Walt's like, do you even know what you're talking about? He takes what Jane says and translates it in the way his mind is. Yeah. He's in for a rude awakening for that.
Yeah.
And he's not going to see a porn show. So.
Gotta love Jesse.
And just to think that he was about to kill Jesse.
And, actually, going back, I noticed when we first see Jane and Jesse together, they're in bed, and the room is really bright. There's a lot of sun coming into it. The sheets are this bright yellow. They are awake and clean and gorgeous and hot, and, it's like they're doing really well.
Yeah.
And they're going to have breakfast, and then Walt calls, and, Jesse has, lies about the methylamine going bad. And you hear Jane listening in kind of like suspiciously. So they didn't, so at one point Jesse's at the steering wheel of the dead RV going, why couldn't I have just gone to Santa Fe? Why not? Why? Why am I here?
Hindsight is 20/20, right?
And he even he calls Walt out on it when Walt's coughing like that, and they don't even have to discuss it. It's just the cough, and eventually the blood. But Walt's sitting there, with his Arab turban on a chair, and he's choking, and Jesse's like, methylamine doesn't spoil, does it? Lie much? Even that after they were done, Jesse's not holding grudges on this. They
Yeah.
move on.
What you guys probably haven't got to it yet, but what did you think about that scene where Walt is down on his knees and Jesse goes over there and he sees a hole in his hand from where he's been turning that crank?
I thought it was because he was coughing up blood.
That was from turning that crank.
Really?
Yeah. He had actually, injured his hand from constantly cranking, trying to get that trickle charge going into the battery on the RV to save him.
I thought that was the blood.
I thought because Walt will say later that he's been coughing up blood.
Well, he did have blood on his mouth too, but that if you go look on his hand, now I'm going to have to go back and look at the scene on Netflix. I'll have to go back to that point, but I'm pretty sure that he had a injury on his hand from turning that crank.
Wow, I always thought it was the blood from the coughing, the damage he was doing to his esophagus, I believe. That had to be taken care of because toward the end, when he gets the good news that he's in remission, and but he's got radiation pneumonitis, which is that thing he saw in the scan.
Right. Yeah.
But that's easy to take care of. Yeah, and some prednisone and you're done. But the coughing up blood was something that Walt hadn't mentioned. This was because I was saying that Walt does a lot of lying in this episode.
Yeah.
And in one of the songs they use, we'll be lying in the sun, Lying. You could be lying on the beach or lying to somebody about something.
Well, now I've got to go back and look because I was watching it on my phone, so I have a small screen to look at. But I thought he had hurt his hand. Because how long did they have to crank that thing? Can you imagine turning that crank for that long, not doing something to your hand?
I'm going to say they did it at like 8 to 10 hours at least.
Yeah.
I think it was early in the morning when they started, and I think it was getting towards sunset when they tried to start the RV.
All right, that's your assignment, webcasters, to go back and review that scene.
Yes, please do it for us because we're tired of having to look stuff up.
Yeah. How many viewers we got? One of the viewers could do it and send us a message.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Going back
That'd
to
be really good.
Going back, hey, can you guys hear me?
But when you weren't here, we were talking about how Marie in the beginning was talking about how doctors think they're so smart. I can look at the scan and tell you how Walt's doing. And you just disregard. Walt gets up. He's like, I need to have a coughing fit. I'm going to the bathroom. There's this unimplied, quiet, shut the fuck up, Marie. Nobody's listening to you. I work in the medical field too, and I could probably do those scans no problem, and I couldn't tell you what was going on with them. That does require a doctor, but when Walt saw the scan, he was taking Marie's word for it, that, yeah, you can look at it and tell by yourself. And Walt decides that he's dying within weeks, right then and there, and now he's got to get cooking.
He decided that on his own.
Yep.
Because of the way he felt.
The reason they're out there in the desert for 4 days is because Walt insisted it had to be done right away, because Walt's only got weeks to live, and he didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
He assumed it. He was wrong. Even Skylar said at one point, maybe the news will be good. Maybe you should prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of funny because it's almost like saying maybe you shouldn't go out in the desert for 4 days with a guy who thinks that Funyuns are nutritious.
Mm-hmm. Well, and look at what he put him and Jesse through based on his own, guessing about his condition and everything. And basically, I think that was him at the point of giving up. I think that's why he jumped to that conclusion.
Oh yeah, and there's a big old speech that goes with that. You know,
Uh-huh.
um, this was, I think, right after they did get the generator cranked. Jesse starts the RV, and then the idiot lets go of the gas pedal,
Mm,
and it's gone.
yeah.
That's so bad. Come on, Jesse, seriously.
And that
And
in that particular scene right there, it kind of
I
reminds
think
me
that was
of
when
Walt.
Walt just rolls over on his cot and just like he's giving up, or I think he leaves. I don't know. There is a point where Walt's on the cot. Oh, I know. They're waiting for Skinny Pete to show up because
Yes.
Walt let him use the phone for that.
Uh-huh.
And then it's been a while, so Jesse tries with Walt's phone again, and they're lost. Skinny Pete, that is, and phone dies. And
Yeah, of
that's
course the
when
phone dies.
Walt hits the cot, rolls over, and he's just like,
Mm-hmm. He's
forget
done.
it.
Yep.
We're done. But,
And Jesse has to be the one to come up with the idea on how to save them. He
The
didn't
robot.
have the smarts to know how, but he had enough confidence in Walt's abilities to know that there was something that he should be able to do because he's a smart man. And so he went through all those things. Yeah, like Shane said, robot, and then stumbled across battery probably by accident.
mm-hmm.
In his little speech there.
Dune buggy,
Yeah.
rocket fuel. Yeah. And it's not, yeah, he does supply the right answer.
Yeah.
He's actually supplying the right answer to something down the line, but I'll let that just churn in your head till you finally get finished. But, yeah, and Walt comes alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's into this battery, and he's really peppy about it, and he's explaining, cathode and whatever. No, I mean, it's going over my head. It's
Yeah.
definitely going over Jesse's, but Jesse is being really polite and trying to pay attention and trying to get it.
Trying, yeah. But he's not really, but based on his answer of, what element do we use to conduct the electricity? Wire.
Yeah, and when Walt tells him to go collect some change and the brake pads and anything galvanized, Jesse
Right.
doesn't even dare ask what galvanized is.
Yeah.
There are two things going there. One, he doesn't want to look any more stupid than he's already been, and two, he does not want Walt to get discouraged.
Yeah.
So he probably just went and collected all the metal he could, and then, Walt got what he needed out of it.
Yeah.
And then luckily they made the wise decision, although I think Jesse would have learned his lesson, but they made the wise decision to let Walt try starting the RV this time.
Mm-hmm.
That if Walt were to do a happy dance about it, he wouldn't take his foot off the gas pedal in the process. Oh my God, that was so bad. It was so bad. And I felt really bad for him too.
Because it's such a hopeless situation. Nobody knows they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's certain death. I mean, they were
Yeah.
facing death.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way they could do anything about it. I mean, if they were going to walk, they were going to have to walk at night, and that's mighty cold. But
Yeah.
they didn't have the supplies or the energy. I mean, the physical, bodily energy they needed, and you couldn't do it during the day. But Jesse did supply. Later, he gets better at that. He gets better and better at that, doesn't he, Shane?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does.
Coming up with ideas.
Yeah. I like when you mentioned when Jesse takes the foot off the
But I
gas pedal.
just, and when he
I don't
dumps
think
all
Anna
the
can hear
gas,
me.
the water on the fire, all the drinking water, I remember watching and I'm like, okay, this kid is really, really just not, he's not applying himself is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
He's not using his brain to its capacity. But he's adorable. He's not just adorable, he's sympathetic, he's sweet. He's not a hardcore criminal. And that's, when people talk about the morality of these characters, and if you compare Jesse to Walt, and I get into these debates with people, and they'll say Jesse was a criminal. Jesse was cooking meth before Walt ever decided to. Jesse did bad things. Jesse was really, really low level, like not even worth the DEA's time, low level, before he met Walt. And Walt was the dude to bring him into the big time.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Jesse is that he apparently had a pretty crappy childhood. I think his parents sucked. We don't really get to see what his childhood was like, but we kind of, am I right, Shane? You get the impression that they just didn't do it right with him.
Yeah, they had high expectations with him.
This little kid and Jesse never really got fully nurtured and loved and encouraged. And because of that, he's still partially a kid.
Yeah.
He's got the lack of self-confidence a child would have. He's afraid to try new things sometimes because he just doesn't have that confidence. He thinks he's a loser. And then, of course, he's got Walt behind him going, yeah, you are. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Did your mother drop you on your head?
Look at all the potential that Jesse has as an individual. He's an awesome artist, and he is somewhat smart. He has the capability to deal with the chemistry stuff. He has that capability, but he's totally absorbed into the I guess because of lack of self-confidence or whatever, the loser streak that he's on as far as, the partying and drugs and everything. Definitely a lot of potential there for somebody. And it's just, he throws it away on the kind of life. And the closest he comes to fulfilling all of that is by cooking meth with Walt, because it's a very high-skilled operation that they have going. And all of he pulls on everything that he knows from the chemistry, not so much him being an artist, but all of the chemistry knowledge that he had really is playing out in the experience that he's getting cooking meth with Walt.
I don't think he's gaining any chemistry knowledge, though.
He was in Walt's chemistry class.
Yeah, but he flunked, pretty much. Yeah, we see that at one point. You flunked me, dick.
But I think he liked it, but I think that he was like a lot of kids, more interested in
blowing up stuff.
Yeah. Jesse,
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Walt knows the chemistry. Jesse can follow instructions and follow the recipe and do it right. And when he'll become more and more valuable as a cook in his own right, but only because he's following Walt's directions. He doesn't really understand the chemistry. He may pick up something here or there, but he's not a chemist. But you're right when you say that he's definitely got his own talents.
Yeah, well, I think he's sharp enough, though, to learn, and, for those that have seen the next season, they know that he's sharp enough to learn.
Okay, since you're into season 4 now, right, you said?
I just started it, yeah.
Which episode?
So, when Jesse needs...
I haven't even finished watching the first episode of season 4. I just started, I think I'm like 6 minutes into it.
Could you get 6 minutes into it and stop? Oh my god. I could never.
Life gets in the way, really pisses me off.
It's too much life for the amount of TV I need to watch.
I know it.
It sucks. But Jesse goes to a group, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he tells a story about making something that he was going to give to his mom.
Yeah.
Familiar?
Yeah.
He did a really great job, apparently, on this woodworking. And there was another skill.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then, you see him, I'm pretty sure, go out and try to get a job. He's going for the job Badger has, but he doesn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
It's advertising. Standing outside dressed like like a dollar bill or something. $100 bill. And he goes in and, he tries to sell himself. He wants to do sales. And he gets shot down. You need experience. You need a college degree. You need this. You need that. But you could do that. So I think, Jesse ultimately wants to do something legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to be financially okay first, to have the luxury of the time to do something legitimate. Mm-hmm. And he's always getting sucked into that Walt vortex. Money, money, money,
Mm-hmm. Although when left to his own devices, he goes out to, I think the first time, this was probably in season 1, the first time he got a hunk of cash, what did he go out and do?
Yeah, that was Yeah.
So there you have it. He parties too much.
Yeah.
But he backs off. There are times where he gets clean. He's painting the house that used to host all those parties of zombies, on meth and blah, blah, blah. And, he gets off of it, and he goes back, and he gets off of it, and he goes back.
Yeah.
He's not as bad as some of the people in there. He is not like Skank and Spooge or Wendy.
I love the names.
They credit her as Mrs. Spooge, and which is sad. They need to redo that. Go back and credit her as Skank. That's her name.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god, just randomly, I decided to watch Girl Interrupted again a couple weeks ago. No, not Girl Interrupted, sorry, but still Angelina Jolie. Changeling, that's what it was. And there is a scene where they put her in a mental institution, and she's got a roommate. And as soon as I saw the roommate, I started freaking out. It's Skank! Oh my god, it's Skank, it's Skank! So, Skank and Angelina Jolie, they're tight, yo.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. By the way, Shane, and I'm really getting off topic here. There's a movie. Okay. Oh, my watching buddy put it on my list. God, I'll have to find out what it is later and text you. But Jonathan Banks is in it, and he does this whole speech about how America is made out of guns. And it's like, we shouldn't have effing stars on the flag. They should be effing guns. And it just, God, sounds like Mike. It's really funny.
I got a question.
Ellen. Oh, back in the desert with the RV. Yo.
Pause. Can you hear Shane? We've got technical problems. Can you hear Shane? Shane, say something.
Hey, Ellen.
Oh, no, I can't.
Uh-huh. That explains it, Shane.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so when Shane is talking and you start talking, because you can't hear him, you're talking over Shane. Just wanted you to know.
I'm so sorry. How is it that you can hear him and I can't?
I don't know, but I have a suggestion that we take just a second and you pop out of the Hangout and come right back in.
That I do?
Yeah, that'll probably fix it.
All right, BRB.
Okay. Da, da, da,
Yeah,
da,
I kind of
da,
figured she
da.
couldn't hear me.
Well, I started to get that. And I was like, or she's just rude. I don't know. No, I figured it was something with Google Hangouts does that kind of stuff every once in a
Yeah,
while.
it does. It does. For the live people, hey, this is live. What you gonna do about it?
The one viewer. Hi, viewer.
Hi, viewer.
There's
Hey,
one viewer.
can you hear me?
I can hear you now. That's really weird because
Okay, that's
I
great.
heard you before Tammy came in.
Oh,
Oh,
Tammy, you
my
messed Ellen
fault.
up. It's your fault, Tammy.
Sorry. Sorry. Probably because I'm on my cell phone. Who knows what kind of trouble that causes. But the
Hmm.
picture's all right and everything?
Yeah, I can hear you. And you look great.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I was trying to mention that during the Jesse where he takes the foot off the pedal, he acts like Walt after he blew up Tuco's hideout. Yeah,
That.
yeah. He reminded me of Walt after he did that.
I think he just had a plain old fit, and then it devolved into like near sobbing. Why couldn't I have just gone to Santa Fe? Why?
Well, he did went to Santa Fe.
Later, not when he was planning to. He had to blow her off, obviously, to go off and do this with Walt. You know, he had to go do the
Yeah.
shopping, and then, and yes, did you just bring a meth lab to the airport?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that phrasing as you near the end of season 4, Tammy. Just
Yeah.
remember that phrasing.
Okay.
It's
Please
funny.
do. It's going to be great.
Okay.
Yes. And the robot someday is going to be great.
You
And
know
there's
what, to me,
mm,
the most tragic story in the whole thing is the story of Jesse's girlfriend and her dad.
Hmm.
You know, to
We'll get
me,
into
that
that.
is, yeah, that is just they really cat roll perfectly
I think
with
there'll
Jesse's
be
girlfriend. She
a
is
couple of
just,
stories that are pretty much just as heartbreaking. But
I've only
yeah.
got 2 more seasons to go. I mean, how much more can I take?
Well, you're in the second to last season.
Yeah.
So you've got what was there, 12? So you're I don't know, like 28 episodes or something. Am I
Hmm.
doing
Ugh,
the math
I hate
right?
it when I
Yeah.
get to the end of something like this, and there's no more to come.
I know.
It's like the end of Harry Potter, or
But you
although,
got Better Call Saul. That's coming around the corner.
yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
But just so you know, I don't know if you saw this, Shane, but Vince Gilligan says don't expect to see
Hmm.
any Jesse or Walt in the first season.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he said, we're not saying that they won't appear, and we're not saying that they will appear. And what I read into that is we don't know how many seasons we're going to get renewed for.
Hmm.
So
Right.
it's going to
Yeah.
totally depend on that.
Well, I read somewhere that it said it's going to last for 2 seasons.
That's
They,
it.
well, they're
They're
approved
planning
for
2 seasons. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's if it's accepted by the public and the ratings are good. A
Hmm.
lot of times these spin-offs don't hold water, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I suspect this is going to be very good.
Just from the teasers, I like it. I really do.
Yeah.
It's going to be its own thing. And meanwhile, in March, a show called Battle Creek will start, and that is it's done with Vince Gilligan and
David Shore.
David Shore from
Yeah.
House. The creator of House meets the creator of Breaking Bad. I'm like, really?
Oh.
Am I alive?
Yeah,
You know?
pinch me. That ought to be epic.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out too.
Okay,
And
so
they have so way different ways of doing things. It should be interesting. But
Hmm.
watching this episode, the perspective shots, the montage was just so beautifully done. So much time is lapsing. You feel the New England. I'm New England. I'm in New England. The New Mexico weather. It gets really cold at night. It gets really hot during the day. You feel that by watching.
Yeah.
It's beautiful scenery. But oh yeah, and I loved that Walt made a turban, like like Arabia, 500 BC or something. The nomad roaming the desert. But he makes it out of a rag and some bungee cords, and it's like whatever you have around.
Shane,
Yeah.
will you do me a favor? Will you PM Richter and tell him that I'm podcasting with you, please?
Okay.
He just called, and I'm on my phone, and I can't, do other things on it like I can when I'm on the computer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I found the quote finally, Shane. When it looks like all hope is lost, Walt says, he's got the I deserve it complex. I had this coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse says, but you did it for your family. And Walt says, all I ever managed to do is worry and disappoint them and lie. Oh God, all the lies. I can't keep them straight in my head anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just like, if you're putting bookmarks in something, a book that you're going to discuss in class, boom, you pop one right on that line, because, that's how he's feeling, that this is all for nothing. And all he's done is do those things.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to, Walt has to be really pushed to extreme limits to realize just what he's doing to the family. Usually he's lost in what he feels like he's doing for the family. But eventually something slaps him and he realizes he's doing something to it, and it's not good. And that was one of those moments.
I got a follow-up question. Did you figure out what that the formula meant from Better Call Saul?
From the formula from was it Better Call Saul?
The equation on the board.
Oh, the episode.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that we came to a conclusion about was that it was an unbalanced equation. It was missing something. And I think it was missing gold. I think that was what, because my buddy and I started Googling like crazy, and he was the one who finally realized that, because they were supposed to be balancing equations. And in the second part of the equation, something's missing, and it was gold. So it's like we're losing money here or something. That's all I could get from it, but it wasn't, it wasn't like that's the chemical formula for meth or, explosives. It was just an exercise for students in balancing equations.
Because, you know how Vince Gilligan is. That could be like an Easter egg or something.
Oh, yeah. Like something I was just about to say that I'm not going to because of Tammy. Was gotta catch up. Gotta catch up.
And Robot.
God, I
Look
can't
out for
believe
Robot in the later season.
I can't believe that you just didn't stay up all night and till you finished. If it had been all available to me at once, I imagine I might have called in sick and just hardly slept and watched this thing. I'm glad that I watched it week to week, year to year, like a lot of people, and I had to wait because I have no self-control where this show is concerned.
So that was pretty much it for this episode. If you two can think of anything that we missed, but I think we covered most of it.
Well, the only thing I was thinking is that at the end it was like whenever he gets dropped off the airport, goes back to find out that he's going to be okay, and the celebration. What really gets me is Walt Jr. Whenever they got the news, The look on that kid's face was just priceless.
Yeah.
His whole family. There was so much love in that room. Hank, Marie,
Yeah.
Skylar, Andrew.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They were all, and you know, all the riches in the world doesn't replace a room full of people who love you that much.
Right.
And so here's Walt swimming in all of this genuine love.
Mhm.
And he goes to the restroom and he punches the shit out of the paper towel
Yeah.
because he's pissed that he's living.
Yeah, that was. Do you think that's what it was? He was mad that he was living, or that he had just given up, written everything off, and now it's like, now I have to keep doing this. I have to keep living my life like this.
I think so.
That's why he punched the thing.
What else is there to be mad about?
Right.
You know?
Mhm.
Exactly.
He had convinced himself, and he was ready to let go. And, you know, somebody who gets ready to let go, who really, really accepts it, doesn't necessarily want good news.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, that was probably one of the most important scenes from that whole episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just so much love this show. It's so good.
Yay!
So
I don't want to
awesome.
spoil anything, but that scene where the doctor says, and they were celebrating, just wait until season 5, because all that love is going to go away. Spoiler alert.
Don't say
Spoiler alert.
stuff like that.
Spoiler alert.
That's way too
Shane,
spoilery.
you're gonna make me cry.
It's not really all gonna go away.
All
It
right.
could have been worse. I could have spoiled the big surprise at the end, but I didn't.
You know, and I find myself only being able to watch like 2 or 3 episodes, and then I have to stop for a little while and kind of absorb, and
Mm-hmm.
because you get so wrapped up in it. It is such a dramatic show.
And details.
Yeah,
So many
and you're like,
details.
wow, you cannot. I mean, it's hard to do a Breaking Bad marathon for me because of the emotional investment.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think there's a big difference sometimes between the people who binge watch, and that's the only, you know, and those of us who did it week to week and year to year, we had time to obsess, rewatch the episodes, you know, see things we didn't notice before, get a better picture of what it is we were looking at, read all these little extras, these interviews, and, you know, get the creators, the writers, and actors' take on what's been happening.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you just binge watch, it's kind of like pouring water too fast into a jug. You know, it's going to overflow at some point. So I get the breaks. I just want you to, just when you when you finish episode 508, 508, just take a moment and respect those of us who waited 11 months after that. Shane knows what I'm talking about. 11 months, not that I counted.
All right.
But 5-8.
Silence to.
And all these people just go, next.
Yeah, well, you know, and when I'm watching an episode, I am, even tonight, even though I'd seen that episode before, go back, because I'm watching on Netflix on my cell phone, and I would go back and rewatch little things, especially where there's little key phrases during the episode, and you're just like, So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get hung up on. I'm glad I'm watching it this way, though, because I can do that. When you're watching on TV, unless you have a recorder, you know, the DVR, which I don't.
Or on demand.
Yeah, we can't do that. But they have been showing on Mondays Breaking Bad, and I did watch with my husband a couple weeks ago. We watched, probably 4 or 5 episodes in a row, and I mean, we went to bed and we were like exhausted.
And then
we were
dreaming
like,
about the characters all night.
Yes, and you're Hank. Poor Hank. Anyway. Yep. All right. So I gotta go.
All right.
Thanks for inviting.
Before we go, the 31st is when we're going to do over.
That's okay.
31st? So you're skipping a week?
Yeah, I'm skipping a week.
All right. Then I want to redo my Skylar thing next Saturday.
Okay.
It was a total disaster last week. I made it a mess of it, and I got to do it again. So I'll start pimping that out.
All right. So the 31st will do over. Over is a good one. That's a good one. I like over.
There's no bad episode.
There isn't.
Right.
No.
Okay. Well,
Right.
I hope I'm available. I will try to be.
All right. I'll send you a message on Facebook the week of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be older.
Your birthday? You got a birthday coming up?
I do. I don't want them anymore.
Oh, well,
I'm
happy
going to be
birthday.
older. I might be too old to do this, so we'll see.
Nah. No,
Yeah.
because you're not as old as I am, honey.
I'm not sure.
Will your birthday pop up on Facebook so I will be able to remember it and send you a comment on your timeline?
Sure. Yeah, I don't hide the year.
Okay. All right. Then
I'm
I'll
going to start, though.
All right. All right. I'll see you on
See you guys later.
All
Have a
right.
good
Take
night.
care. Thanks for having me.
Night.